Hello and welcome to the 15-minute show, part of the Arsenal Therapy podcast. As always, we'll be broadcasting twice a week, so please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. As always, I'm your host, Adam Keys. Thank you for joining us. And today we've got Monty with us. Great to have you back. How are you doing, mate?
Not too bad, thank you, Adam. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. So just trying to get through the interlull, pining after Arsenal, waiting for the weekend.
International break, just like I know it. I know the people want to play for their country, but like I want to watch Arsenal play. Can we just like sack it off, please?
We're all the same. I think it's, I guess,
especially after the high from the last match.
Yeah, and we had this the last time too. We had the United game, then straight into the international break. This time, straight into the international break. Then we've got the team back, and then 4 weeks, and then there's another one. So it's just crazy that this season there's so many games.
I think, is it January? I think we only have two. No, it's either January or February. We only have 2 league games in the whole month.
We usually do in January because of the FA Cup.
The FA Cup, yeah.
So that always kind of throws the table. January's a strange month for football, but
I did my FPL tracker, and it was looking at double game weeks. I was like, we've only got 2 weeks in January. I was like, what? Yeah,
it really throws you, and it's one of those months that if you lose the first game, there's a long break between fixtures, and it can really throw you off that month. But we do have a few stories today to discuss. As always, there's news circulating pretty much nonstop about Arsenal. But the first one that I wanted to touch on is Thomas Partey. So obviously he has just come back, huge part of the team, incredible talent, but one that we've managed to get through this period without needing him, which is a testament to how well Rice has settled. But the big news is Partey was taken off after 45 minutes for Ghana, which obviously led to concerns about his fitness. But Chris Hewlett has addressed that and said that basically he was taken off as a precaution. So it was 45 minutes pre-planned, build up his fitness, and Arsenal have sent a physio there to basically make sure those promises are actually fulfilled. But Ghana do play at 1 a.m. our time on Wednesday. So that leaves kind of a very short window for him to recover and get back. Just give me your thoughts on Partey and this international break. And obviously he needs to build up fitness, but kind of any concerns you've got or optimisms as a result of playing these games?
Yeah, no, I think with Partey, he kind of scares the hell out of me. Because you know, when he plays, no one can discredit Partey. Everyone knows he's at top class. He's probably one of our best players and walks into pretty much every team in the Prem when he's fit. But when you see him, when he's just come back from an injury, going to an international game, you're like, why? Like, as an Arsenal fan, you're just kind of worried. I mean, I did see that he was playing the 45 minutes, but now that it's it was planned, it makes you feel a little bit better. And I'm all for it. I mean, like, we saw him come on for what, 10 minutes against City, around about that, including sort of added time and stuff. Maybe like 20 total minutes. So that's a good little run in to come back from, and it's against a good team. So it was 100% when he came on. Then he goes to Ghana, gets 45 minutes. So he should be ready for Chelsea. If you like, from that perspective, he's done 45 minutes now. He should be able to do 90 minutes, maybe 70 minutes against Chelsea. So that just gives me optimism, to be honest. I mean, yes, it's concerning. I think every time you see Partey in a game that's not important, you're like, do we really need to? Because his injury record says that he will get injured. But I'm not too concerned. I'm actually happy he got some time. If we've got a physio out there, I'm sure they're tracking everything and making sure that he's all ready for Saturday, really.
Yeah, 100%. I think it is the fear with Partey as much as anything. It is that we know he's always going to go out for a period of time. He's already had that. He went out at the same period last year, and we pretty much got through it without him last year. It was only the United game at Old Trafford where we really noticed him not being in the team.
Yeah.
But this time round, we have got through it without him, and it's not been a result of him not playing. I guess you could argue the Spurs game, if we would have put him into the 6 role and the
Hmm.
minute Rice went off. But yeah, he's one that I think if he's fit, I would want to see him and Rice playing together at Chelsea. I think we saw when he came on against City just how good he is. As you said, he's one of our best players, walks into any team. But I
That
think,
vision as well.
yeah, and I think
Mhm.
the thing that we often overlook with Party is the creativity. That ball, those verticals through to Odegaard, I think that's something that Rice doesn't have in his game at this point. And Party's got beautiful feet, manipulation of space, and he
Mm.
can just thread those balls in with ease.
And the way he
And
can turn players as well
uh,
is it's crazy.
unbelievable. It's
Yeah.
just that Busquets type, just drop a
Mhm.
shoulder off the other way. And I was saying to Farhan yesterday, just the kind of difficulty to do something like that, even if you're playing with players much lesser ability, to have the awareness of space and throw everyone in the way
Mhm.
Thomas Partey and Busquets can
It
is
makes it look easy.
insane.
That's
He
that's
does.
that's the crazy. It makes it look easy, and you're like, that's not easy in the
Yeah.
slightest.
Oh, 100%. And that's what these top players do. But for me, if he's fit, hopefully he gets the run out. But I will be watching the news from Ghana very keenly after the game on Wednesday, just making sure he's all right. And I guess as the game's at 1 a.m., you would expect him to travel back after the game. And he'd probably fly through the night or whatever, and hopefully be
Mhm.
back in Colney on Friday to train and or have just kind of a medical check over. He may not need
Yeah.
any training at that point. But yeah, the next story is Benjamin White. So
Bunny
contract is
Blanco.
looking closer. And it's I think it's fair to say it's a deserved contract. This he is that cult hero, consistent 7 out of 10 minimum, and someone that I think you you never worry about. That position is now so locked down by him that you never think about him. You just know he's going to do a good job. Um, but what are your thoughts on this, Dale?
I mean, I'm all for it. It depends how much I think. You got to think Ben White's what, 24 years old,
26.
26. So he's
Yeah,
actually. Oh yeah, we bought him when he was like 24, didn't we?
yeah.
Yeah, so 26. He's coming into the prime of his life pretty much now. This next contract's going to be basically his payday, effectively, and he might maybe get one more increase when he gets to like 28, 29. So as long as we're not overpaying, like I don't want him to be getting like sort of 220, 230, because although he is good, I mean, it's not 220, 230 good. As long as it's sort of a reasonable price, like you said, I think we discussed earlier, he's on like 120 at the moment. I don't mind it. And Ben White's been probably one of the best right backs in the league the last 2 seasons. And it's crazy how he's not in the England squad, but there's probably other things that are sort of getting in the way of that. Also, it doesn't help that all the best right backs in the league are English, which is just actually crazy. Kieran Trippier, Reece James, you've got
Kyle
Trent.
Walker.
Yeah, literally like Kyle Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ben White. They're all English and they're all the right backs. So what's that about? I like the deal. I think Ben White's been an excellent custodian of the club. I think the way he's come into the team and changed that, he made that right side solid. I mean, he's put people on absolute toast before, and it's considering he was a centre back when he came in, and if not a DM, and people will ask him to be sort of a defensive mid and number 6 role because he did it at Leeds a few times, and to come at right back and do what he's doing is insane. It's insane, and the sort of the chemistry he's got with Saka, I think, is vital. I think that if you were to put Tomiyasu on the right, in replacement. We've seen it a few times, but he just doesn't have the same click. So Benny Blanco, in my opinion, is worth every penny. Worth every
Yeah.
penny, and I hope he signs for a good 5-year deal.
Yeah, one of the things that we were discussing before we started recording was the money side, which, as you've
Mm.
just mentioned, that has to be right. But I had said as well about a lot of these players are getting quite substantial bumps. We know Saka's got a massive bump on his deal. Jesus is already on big money when he came in. And Martinelli big bump. Saliba, Gabriel, even Ramsdale. Now Ben White potentially will get another 60k a week on top of his deal, something like that. I can't see it going over 180, but certainly close to that 180
Reece
mark.
Nelson as well.
Reece Nelson, Eddie got a big deal. All these contracts are adding up. So when people are saying we need to go out and sign, we need to go and add more, this is something that we need to consider as well. You want to keep your best players. That means paying more money, and that money is going out of the club every day. So it is something that whilst we celebrate these contracts, the money does have to be right with them. And honestly, for Ben White, I don't think there's no, put it like this, there's no right back except maybe Trent that I look at and think, I wish he played for Arsenal, because I'm so confident in Ben White. And Trent is just a complete unicorn talent that so many people just love to bash because he switches off defensively, but forget everything that he can do going forward. So,
because I've seen loads of people on Twitter comparing, Reece James, Ben White.
Oh,
I mean, I'm taking Ben White every day, right? Don't get me wrong, right? Reece James is probably one of the best right backs in the world. Facts. But the guy's always injured.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Ben White. When was Ben White last injured? I literally can't remember.
Played through a grade 3 hamstring tear at Newcastle, according to Rob Holding. So that sums up his mentality. And also, I think that's a really good point, though, about Reece James is I think availability is a trait that's often underrated. We talk about technique, stamina, all those other assets of the game, but physical kind of readiness and availability is something that I think a lot of fans kind of underestimate the importance of. And when we were going for Declan Rice, that was one of the things we kept talking about, was he's always available. He's never injured. And I think, again, this comes back to, these players.
But James Milner, Gareth Barry, all the players that have got over like 600 games to them in the Premier League, just because they're consistent. They're not, but maybe not the best person in their position, but they are there. They know how to do a job, and they do it. It's as simple as that, and they are available.
Well, it is one of the things I've said about Rodri is he's always available. He'll always give you a minimum of a 7. Thomas Partey will give you 20 games with an 8.5, 9 out of 10. But he will give you 10 where he's in between and possibly carrying an injury, and then 10 where he's out. So they are things that you have to weigh up. And I think this is one of the skills that Ben White brings to Arsenal, is that kind of availability. But on to additions, and kind of keeping with the trend of spend, we have been linked with a couple of players, one being Douglas Luiz, which Romano has said that Arsenal are still interested in. Give me your thoughts on this one.
Douglas Luiz, I mean, I like him. I've watched Aston Villa this season, and I think they've been brilliant, to be honest. Douglas Luiz is a solid player. He works on Unai Emery at the moment, and Unai Emery seemed to have sort of made him unlocked him a bit, because he was sort of he was out for a bit as well under Stevie G. Wasn't really playing to his strengths. I think Unai Emery's got him sort of clicking and on a tactical level. I really like him. He's really powerful. He's really imposing. He can take free kicks. He's dangerous on set pieces. He can pretty much do everything. The only thing is, for me, is a case of who would we replace for him. I'm all for bringing people in, but I do think sort of in midfield, particularly, we've got enough sort of starters. If you know what I mean, like Douglas Luiz isn't coming over to be a B side. He's coming over to start. I mean, the only place I can think of maybe is if we sell Jorginho and put him in there, and then he maybe tries to push one of the guy like Partey and Rice out, or maybe we sell Partey because he's just not available that much. We sell him while his value's high and then get him into place. So I'm kind of for it. Douglas Luiz, I really like him as a player. I watched him particularly sort of Aston Villa when they were against Brighton. They were phenomenal. Excellent passing, vision, strength, agility. He's got it all. There's not much he hasn't got all. It's just a case of, can we work out a deal that's sort of both for good sides. I don't want to be spending silly money on him, but I think 50 million because his contract, maybe 40 million, I'd go for it.
It's an interesting one. I liked the signing when we were linked to him last summer on deadline day, and it was one of those I probably would have gone for another last push to get it over the line. But at the same time, I understand why the club didn't do that. I guess my my curiosity with Luis is he someone that Arteta sees playing higher up the pitch, that he could unlock those qualities? Obviously, great ball strike and really good free kick taker, corners the works. But is he someone that Arteta thinks actually I could get a lot out of him in that left 8 role? That he'll give me the defensive side, he'll give me a bit more going forward, almost in the way he got from Granit Xhaka with that real discipline. But at the same time, it's hard to know. For me, he's someone I like. I wouldn't be against him coming in. It kind of fits that category of raises the floor, but not necessarily the ceiling of the team.
Yeah.
And I also think, I guess, if it was for that left 8 role, I wouldn't be against it because I would like someone that can retain possession a bit more.
He's got that dog in him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's an aggressive player. He's got that real fight. So I like him, but I think I'm not sure, I guess, how much of a priority it'll be versus it's maybe a nice to have rather than we need to go out and get this player now.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, the other one that has been linked is Andre Trindade. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So he is a defensive midfielder from Fluminense, and the interest is kind of heightened recently after Edu visited Fluminense's training ground. He also went to Atletico Paranaense and Corinthians and Palmeiras. So he was out there for a week, visited all 4 clubs, and the interest in Andre, as he's known, has really kind of heightened as a result. But he was also linked heavily to Liverpool in the summer. He's a 22-year-old defensive midfielder who is said to be very, very good on the ball. He's 1.76 meters tall, so he's not the tallest holding midfielder.
Yeah.
And but a stocky, agile player nonetheless. So this one, again, an interesting link, but it kind of feeds into what you've just said of we're very well stocked in that area of the pitch. We've got Rice, we've got Partey, Jorginho, even Elneny in there. However, 3 of those players are over 30. So what's your thoughts on this one?
I mean, one thing I've noticed that's different to it is his age. I mean, unlike sort of like a lot of these Brazilian talents who keep coming over to the Prem, they're like 17, 18, 19, and they're not ready to go for another 3-4 years and they get loaned out. This guy's 22. It's tall, it's powerful. Maybe he can come in. I mean, Martinelli adjusted really quickly. Maybe he can come in. Maybe if we do bring, like you said, if we're going to replace sort of like Jorginho's getting older, Partey maybe goes out because he's getting older. And you've got Mohamed Elneny also getting older. Maybe bring Luis and Trindade in. Trindade sort of as a project player can come in as youthfulness. You've got Douglas Luiz, who's a bit more solid. Also Brazilian, both of them. So if you were to bring both of them in, I mean, I'm not saying they would, but you got Brazilian in there. You'll have a Brazilian core effectively. Got Gabriel in there. Gabriel Jesus up front. Martinelli. Got Brazil FC. I'm all for it. I mean, I like what I like about it.
Samba style.
Exactly, yeah. The thing I like about it is it's the age, because like when you get these Brazilian players, a lot of them going young. And if we can get someone who's like doing well in their league, and it seems that he is, if he's doing well in his league. I mean, the Brazilian league it's not the hardest, but it is a physical league. It's a very physical league.
It's a tough league. It's aggressive.
Yeah. It's and they do some crazy tackles out there. So yeah, toughness is the main one. So his fitness should be good. I mean, just look at Martinelli since he's come over. It just kind of goes to show them that's how good they are. If he can adjust quickly, and he's got sort of the stamp of approval from Edu and Arteta, I back it. I mean, Edu hasn't seemed to have got the Brazilian talents wrong that he's brought over. So I like it. I mean, I can't say I know this guy inside out. I've watched every game he's played. I haven't. I think a lot of people would just be going, "Who's that guy?" Clicking on some comps. But what the main thing for me is going for a different age now. It's a case of more of established players, and he seems to be sort of a key player in the team as well. So he's got leadership qualities, which is another thing that we've been looking at for the last few years. There's just leaders on the pitch. So although you don't need to heavily rely on Ødegaard to do all the captaining, he can sort of marshal it to others who can then relay it. And on a language side, I mean, if his English is that bad, there are Portuguese speakers all throughout that team. So I think he should feel at home quite quick. which is a good thing.
Yeah, and to your point about his age, he's played 150 games for Fluminense, so he's a player with a lot of mileage under his belt already at 22. He's got a cap for Brazil. He's expected to play again this week, and he's someone that Liverpool were very, very interested in this summer. And there were reports that they were going to activate his release clause, however, didn't, because they wanted to keep relations good between the clubs. So
what was the release clause? Do you know?
I'm not sure. So I will look that up. And but they so yeah, clearly there's interest there. It's not like the Botelho links in the summer, for example, where we were the only big club being linked. And some Arsenal fans tried to convince themselves that this was from a reliable Brazilian source. So this one, I think there could be legs to it. I do also believe that Jorginho will stay at the club longer than Thomas Partey. I think Jorginho is someone that is going to be happier playing a bit part role coming on at the end of the games. I think Thomas Partey is too good to be second choice. And Arsenal also have to weigh up the decision of, do we extend his contract or do we sell him? Because this summer, I mean, they have to make that choice.
It's a Aubameyang moment 2.0.
Yeah. Personally, I shake his hand and let him go.
Yeah.
Because I think you can't take that risk at his age with his injury history. But on that, we will wrap up the show. So thank you for joining, Monty. And thank you to everyone that has watched up until this point. As always, please hit the like and subscribe button and continue to help us grow this channel. And have a great day. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.